Outside of the Echo Chamber, the official I Dream of Indie Games podcast is brought to you by you, the gamer. If you'd like to join our mission to support indie visibility, head over to patreon.com/idreamofindiegames and bring a voice to the voiceless ones in gaming. Greetings, Indie Warriors, and welcome back to what we strive to make the most thrilling and entertaining indie gaming show on the web. You're tuned in to the official I Dream of Indie Games podcast outside of the Echo Chamber. I'm your host, Old Gamer Joe, and joining me today is the extraordinary Barely Magic Mike and the indie legend herself, Silent Signs. Our mission here is to celebrate the incredible indie gaming scene, shining a light on its talented developers and publishers. We bring you daily reviews, first impressions, top 10 lists, and of course, this very show, outside of the Echo Chamber. A huge thank you to all of you out there who keep independent content alive and well. If you share our love for indie games, consider joining us at patreon.com/idreamofindiegames. Your support grants you access to the coolest indie gaming Discord community, early ad-free access to shows like Upcoming Indies, and this very podcast 3 days ahead of time. Patreon supporters also receive a shout-out in all of our videos, no matter the tier, and most importantly, you'll help support what, Silent Signs?
That would be indie visibility.
That is correct. All right, in this episode, we'll dive into the latest indie game news as we do, just a few stories this week, share our recent gameplay adventures, present today's question of the day, and of course, let you know what you can expect for the week ahead right here at the channel. This week, we are ironically discussing AAA games, however, and whether we think they're going to have a bit of a resurgence this year and beyond. Don't forget, you can listen to this podcast on Spotify, YouTube channel, you can do it that way too, and leave a comment, and of course, YouTube Music. All right, how has everyone been? It was kind of an eventful weekend. I got my daughter a new dresser. She's been dying to get a new dresser. Her clothes were spilling everywhere, so we went to a Bob's Discount Furniture. I think this is a local chain, right, Silent Signs?
I think it's most of like this region of the United States, but
a New England
there's
thing?
Some out there.
Yeah. Also went to a BJ's Brew House, which I also believe, well, I think that's more national, right?
Yeah, we went there in Texas as well, so.
They were those by me. They're pretty good.
Yeah, they were pretty good.
It was pretty good, even though, weirdly, we all ordered salads. I don't think we planned it that way.
We all went to a steakhouse and we ordered salads. I got the seared ahi tuna salad. I know this is thrilling content right now, but damn, that was good.
Yeah, I got the Asian chicken salad. I have been on a little bit more of a health kick lately, so maybe that was just in my subconscious. But actually, if you go to the right restaurant, you can get a damn good Asian chicken salad. I always love that dish. And BJ's was pretty big. It was pricier, but it was good, I thought. Did you enjoy your Silent Sides?
Very much so. I didn't eat the whole day after that because I was determined to finish it.
Which is weird, right? For a salad to be filling, because
I love me some ahi tuna. No matter how much you put in front of me, I will eat it all. So
same.
Well, the night before that,
so good.
Mm-hmm.
I had ahi tuna, I believe, right? That's what they put in the poke bowl.
No, that's just regular tuna.
Oh, that's just regular
There's
tuna.
No searing to
so
that tuna.
What's different with the ahi?
Well, usually if you're having the ahi tuna, they sear the edges of it, so it's a little bit cooked on the edges, and it's like very raw on the inside.
Delicious.
And it's got like some kind of seasoning based crust to it.
Not cooked at all though, right? Still raw?
Seared.
Seared, yeah. Okay, cool. Well, that sounds delicious. I don't think I've had that version of tuna too often. But I do enjoy me some good raw tuna because the night before I had a poke bowl as well. So it was just kind of a nice, healthy eating out weekend. Well, that sounded kind of, never mind. All right. So anyways, what else did I do this weekend?
It didn't have to, Joe. It didn't have to.
It was there anyway.
We watched, this was kind of weird. We watched Daddy's Home 1 and Daddy's Home 2.
Speaking of
These are like 2015 and 2017 comedy movies, respectively, starring Will Ferrell. And the first one was quite good. The second one weirdly had Mel Gibson for some reason and was not good. And was a Christmas movie.
Kind of killed the vibe, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, a little bit. But I just realized watching that we really don't get a lot of those slapstick-style comedy movies anymore.
Well, you're missing the whole point of why we were even watching those at all. So we got a brand new television.
That's right.
That is gigantic.
I guess because that was like a few days before the weekend started. I totally forgot that aspect. But yes, we got ourselves the LG C4, the OLED C4.
77 inches,
and I was like,
far too big for our living room.
Yes.
It's so hot.
I was like 65 in CX and whatever it's called, and I love that TV, but no need to upgrade, but I'm sure the C4 is great.
We had previously been watching, playing, working on a, 46-inch? 42-inch screen. So as you might expect, I feel like it was terrible for my eyes because I kept squinting at the screen trying to read things when I was playing games. So this was both a much needed and a very stupid improvement.
Yeah, I don't know about needed per se, but like...
We needed a bigger screen or a better setup.
I was comfortable with 65, but Silent Science here was like, you know what? You don't buy yourself stuff often. Go big or go home.
And
I
was right.
This. And you know what? I don't think I could go back now, having this giant 77-inch screen. Now, I could use a little bit of a bigger living room for it, but...
Okay. Well,
I always knew Silent Science was size queen.
I am. I literally said that. I was like, let's go. Come on.
But this TV is ridiculously good looking. We also watched, what was it? The Puss in Boots movie?
Yeah.
The second one.
Yeah.
And that just looked incredible with the Dolby Vision and all the stuff going on. We also got a sound system for the Dolby Atmos, which is just incredible. You've got like this circular sound going on all around you in the room. It's so cool.
Just to be very clear, none of this was purchased with YouTube money.
No, not at all.
We're not doing well.
No, we're just pretending we're rich for a couple days.
Just for a day, yeah.
But you got to do that once in a while in life. You got to kind of treat yourself because I feel like we really grinded over the last 5 years at least. Silent Science.
16.
16 for you probably, but yeah. But especially like when it comes to this channel, we really worked like our lives depended on it, and we were like, finally, you know what? 5, almost going on 6 years this year. It'll be 6 in, I want to say, July or something like that. June or July, this channel was born.
Something like that.
So yeah, all that blood, sweat, and tears. And we were like, you know what? We're finally going to do something for ourselves. And we got this ridiculous TV.
There was actually literally blood because I cut my finger setting up the PC for this channel.
That's true.
And then I had to go to the hospital, and then I had to have my tendon sewn back together. So
that, and also all of the...
It's a true story.
The mental health I've needed, probably, just from doing
That's
all
not really
shit,
blood per se, but...
No, that's the sweat and the
I
tears.
literally bled for this channel. I just want you to know.
So we earned it, damn it. Yes. Big, stupid TV. But no, if you can't afford something like that, I don't actually encourage it. But it is really great. Spoiled myself for the first time in many, many years. I'm actually not a person that buys myself a lot of stuff in general. How about you, Silent Science? I feel like you're a minimalist when it comes to life, generally.
Yeah, I'm just looking at my outfit, which is purchased at Goodwill. So,
and yet you get the most comments on outfits of anyone I've ever met in my life, whether it's your glasses or your Goodwill outfits, which people don't even realize. You're getting top tier dresses and stuff that people just donated, right?
Yeah, you just gotta make it work. You gotta just fully commit.
You gotta be a thrifter. She's a great thrifter.
You have a sense of taste that just radiates happiness and bubbliness.
Oh, thanks. That's really sweet.
Yeah, so she's constantly getting comments. Old Gamer Joe here kind of doesn't really get that. Oh, you look good.
No, that's
today.
not true. Every time you whip out your Sailor Moon wallet, somebody's got something to say.
That is true.
Wow,
girls
did
in
not
particular
think you were
love
say
that.
Sailor Moon wallet. I did not think that.
Come on, expect the unexpected.
So yeah, that was kind of my weekend. I'm in a bit of a pickle now, though. I don't know if you have a 4K Blu-ray player, Mike, but I'm kind of in the market for one now because, well, I have this ridiculous TV, so I might watch a few physical movies and enjoy the higher bitstream rate and all that. Do you have any suggestions there?
Well, wait, do you have a PS5?
No.
No, if you'll recall, okay. I sold it to Lex Noyle in the Discord. Shout out to Lex.
Shout out to Lex. I hope you're enjoying that PS5.
Yeah. I use my PS5 whenever I need a 4K Blu-ray player, but I guess
that
that
makes
doesn't.
Sense.
That might be a more expensive version if you're not going to play other stuff on the PS5.
Yeah.
Well, the nice thing I'm reading with the Panasonic ones, there's really only 2 makers in the market now. It's Sony and Panasonic. Mm-hmm. But the Panasonic ones will actually go as far back as playing 3D content even. And they'll do, of course, HDR10. They'll do all that fancy stuff, Dolby Vision, everything. But it's the one I want is $350 or something like that. So it's a little pricey.
At that point, you could buy an Xbox.
You could, but it's not as good of a player either. So that's kind of It's like Xbox that I'm not going to use and have a worse player, or just get a really nice player. You know, that kind of thing. So I'll have to search the market a little bit more. I've not bought like a device that requires physical media in a very long time. So that'll be fun, though. That was kind of my week. Anyways, I talked enough. What did you do, Mike?
I had a pretty busy work week, so there wasn't a ton of eventful stuff other than like what I played and what I watched outside of that. I mean, I saw The Monkey and I saw Hard Eyes both finally, and I thought The Monkey was fun, but I really, really didn't care about the plot or any of the characters, so I found everything that wasn't just like, every scene that wasn't just gore-soaked, I found kind of a little boring, like if it wasn't funny. Overall, I liked it all right. I wouldn't really see it again, but I liked Hard Eyes even more. I thought Hard Eyes was really fun, like from beginning to end, pretty consistently. Very good at both the comedy and the horror parts. So those were fun. My husband and I were trying to watch From Season 3. Have you guys ever seen From?
Oh, I keep meaning to watch that.
Yeah, well, don't get too excited.
Okay.
Because I think Season 3, we watched the first couple episodes and we're like, wow, well, this is bad. This is a show that is just introducing mystery after mystery after mystery with no intention of like wrapping up any of it. And like,
so like Lost.
I don't know. I didn't see all of Lost. I saw the first couple seasons.
Oh.
And I just
that's smart.
Keep with the weekly cadence and all that. But yeah, I mean,
that's honestly for the best.
Yeah, From is Lost, but horror. And I think if you would describe the later seasons of Lost that way, then you're gonna get the exact same thing here. Just mystery after mystery with no real resolution.
I've literally had an IMDb browser open in my phone, so I didn't forget that I wanted to watch From, and it's been open for many, many months because I keep forgetting.
Yeah, the first couple seasons were great, but yeah, I think we're done with that one. But in more gaming-related stuff, so I finally have given enough time to properly get hooked into the Talos Principle 2. I loved the original, and I just never, I don't know, this was another thing, like Joe, I was talking about with you last week, I don't play games at my PC that much because I'm just not as comfortable there, but now that I have it on PS5, suddenly I'm playing it all the time. Like,
did you pet all the cats?
All the cats? I didn't, okay, I'm like maybe 4 or 5 hours in, apparently I just have not seen a cat yet.
What? That was my favorite part. You could go to this, it's like in the main hub, like world, and you could go to this little like temple almost, and there's cats walking around.
Oh, I love that. But I'm going to keep playing more, absolutely, because I really like it. So I will.
You know what I'm realizing about your playstyle, Mike, is you're not like a exploration guy, are you, as far as going off in the beaten path and bumping into things? Because you missed the glory hole we talked about last week, too.
Yeah.
In Lost Records.
I'm not an
You're
exploration guy. It's
the cats, the glory holes.
It's rare you can get me to explore in a game, other than like bare minimum exploration. It depends on the game, but yeah.
See, I'm the polar opposite.
Oh yeah, she will bump into like every wall, explore every crevice. That sounds bad too, but
it sure does. And you're also not wrong, because I will get lost and then I'll be like, well, I better find all the secrets while I'm in this random corner I'm probably not supposed to be in.
I will do that a lot in 3D open world games too, where it's like, I need to bump into every wall just to figure out where the hell to go. Okay, I'm going to backtrack now. I'm going to figure this out. And I see like a lot of the environment. That's probably, developers probably love that I'm doing that. But like from a gameplay standpoint, it really does drag down the experience. I spend a lot of time. And that's probably why my play time is a lot higher.
Yeah, I'm just
a lot of players.
challenged.
Because I'll mention in some reviews like, you know, this game took me however many hours to complete. And they'll be like, you're a liar, dude. This game was like 4 hours short. I'm like, I just played differently. That's why I don't like that question.
I know.
So you're both crevice explorers and size queens. We get it.
That is true.
Pretty much, yeah. I do love me a good crevice. Anything else you played?
I finally tried The Zebra Man.
How was it?
Sorry about adding it so late to the library, but yeah.
Yeah. I finally tried it. First of all, the intro, like the menus, it's hilarious. Like it's really well put together. I think from the brief bit I played, I didn't play a ton. I probably played like 15, 20 minutes, if we're being honest. But I didn't feel super compelled to continue. It might get better, especially because I didn't have any weapons at the start, and I'm sure there are some weapons throughout the game, but it really just felt exactly like, we have Hotline Miami at home. But, I really didn't give it enough of a chance yet. I might give it a little more, but it was also very challenging for being so basic, which was a bit more of a turnoff for me, but I would be curious what you guys think if you give it more of a shot.
Yeah, I do want to try it because I was a big fan of Ocho, which is kind of a Hotline Miami-like, if you want to call it that. I know you didn't like the game as much as I did, but I greatly enjoyed that title. Of course, I'm a huge Hotline Miami fan as it is, so this did look interesting to me. I do want to try it at some point.
Oh, I gotta ask, Mike, did you ever end up trying Blood Typers?
No, I want somebody to try it with, and you guys weren't available yesterday.
We had to go buy a dresser.
Whatever.
and eat salads, apparently.
I need boring. One day to not play. Like, I have to not play video games for one day of the week, at least, right?
Well,
I don't support that. I'm sorry. I just don't.
Well, if it makes you feel better after this, we're going to play video games somewhere else.
That's true. Yes, and board games, though, to be fair.
That is true, yeah.
Oh, yes, we actually have a friend, believe it or not.
No, well.
So, yeah, good old physical get-together. It's a lost art.
Old-fashioned, old-timey get-together. We're going to drink sodas and eat Doritos.
I'm not doing either of them. Well, I might have a Coke Zero, but I must admit, I am a sucker for a good zero-calorie soda still. That's one thing I have to
Same, it's a weakness.
It is a weakness of mine. What did I play? I actually messed around, believe it or not, a little bit with a AAA game. This was like early yesterday. I woke up at like 4 a.m. for some reason. I'm stupid about waking up early. And I tried out the Dead Space remake for a little while on the PC.
I used to love Dead Space. I won't lie to you.
Really, really awesome so far, I have to say. It seems like they've kind of patched it up. I think you mentioned, Mike, it was a little bit rough at launch, but seems to be running nice and smoothly now, at least on my rig.
The last time I tried it on PC, it ran great. The problem was it crashed constantly, which is great if it's not happening to you. But I do still want to play it, but probably on PS5, where I know it won't crash like crazy.
Very fair.
Yeah, no crashes so far. I was like 30, 45 minutes in and running great, looking great with that HDR and everything. I'm spoiled with this damn TV now, but every video game looks stupidly good on a 77-inch OLED.
We put on Lost Records. That was insane.
We did, yes. Yeah. That also looked massive. I feel like this is a problem, Silent Signs, because if there's eventually a problem in life where we can no longer afford a new TV and this one breaks, we're going to be like, how do we go back from 77-inch? It's like
closer to the TV.
That's such a petty problem to have, I know. But
first world problem, seriously.
But yeah, I'm enjoying that remake so far. It definitely still has the feel and vibe of the original, up in the graphics, the lighting. It's really cool. You did play Dead Space back in the day a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you played it with me
too.
Probably, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, really great game. Still holds up quite well. Yeah. So you should check this out with me.
I still have a Dead Space t-shirt somewhere.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I think I have a photo of you in that.
Probably. Yeah, with Billy Mitchell.
Yeah. The King of Kong himself.
Yeah.
I think you're wearing the Dead Space shirt.
I sure am.
So.
It kills me that apparently Dead Space 1 remake did not sell well enough for them to greenlight a Dead Space 2 remake from what I heard, and Dead Space 2 was my favorite. So
yeah, it was the better game.
Yeah, 2 is the better game. I would have been fine with them not revisiting 3, but it would have been cool to get 2. I'm not surprised, though, because I feel like they gave up on the Dead Space franchise for a reason anyways originally. I don't think it was like a huge blockbuster originally, was it?
I don't know, but it was their fault that the Dead Space franchise went the way it did, because Dead Space 3, EA executives meddled in it and forced it to have co-op. I'm pretty sure that's the story I read about it. And it just... I loved Dead Space 1 and 2, and I got like an hour or two into 3, and I was like, absolutely not. This is not the same experience at all.
Yeah, I think it was still like kind of fun, but definitely not what Dead Space was all about. It's about being isolated in that ship and the environment and being single player.
I feel like that was like a fast track to kill the franchise, but hey, what do I know?
And they did it, And apparently the revival's not going well. I didn't know that. That's a shame, because I am enjoying it. I'm still going to play through this whole thing. It's such a good game. Outside of that, I played the Eiyuden Chronicle DLC. I've talked about that game a bunch on this podcast, but DLC pack finally came out after a delay of quite a few months, actually. I guess they were having problems getting the backer versions out to line up with the release date for everyone else, because that was an issue with the game originally launching, where backers were upset that they didn't get the game, or they got the game the same time as media and such. So this time they avoided that, but at the cost of, this has kind of been a sloppy situation for this developer here, the whole rollout. But I still love the game. And the DLC pack, it's decent. It's like a 2-hour-ish type deal. Nothing major. Nothing that's going to be necessary to your experience. But I enjoyed it enough. There is a video on the channel if y'all want to check that out.
So to a degree, I understand why backers would be upset. But at the same time, you have to kind of expect that media gets to see things before the general public does. Like, I fully expect media to have seen a movie I want to see before I go see it.
That's just the way entertainment works.
Even if I bought my tickets ahead of time.
Yeah. When you back a project, you're on shaky ground to start with. I actually backed Uden Chronicle, even though I did get a media copy, so I ended up with 2 copies of this game.
Or, like, how many times have you pre-ordered a CD?
Not in many years.
You get that CD the same time as everybody else, and sure as shit, some media outlets already heard it, and they're reviewing it for Rolling Stone or whatever.
Yeah, of course. That's just how entertainment works. You have press, and you need press for your product to do well, hopefully.
So when I see people online being like, I'm going to sue the developers for this, which is not made up if you look at the comments on that video. Maybe chill out. Like, it's not that serious.
It's not really that serious, no. And, like, you're doing a good faith thing by backing a project, usually.
Right.
And you take a risk with that.
You're backing it because you want it to come to be.
Right. It's not about being spoiled and getting everything.
Opinion.
Like, granted, I can kind of see the argument. Okay, I put the money in. I made this project come to life. I should probably get it before people that didn't put any financial investment into it. That's fair.
To be fair, you did both.
I did. But, I'm in a different situation here where I end up with a review code. I kindly gave my backer version away to our audience. So. But yeah, what do you think about backing, Mike? Have you backed any Kickstarters before?
No, I've never backed anything. Well, I've backed some like non-gaming stuff before and regretted it because it would say it was coming out in like 2021. There's actually one thing I backed in 2021 and I still haven't gotten it. I still get updates about it, but I still haven't gotten it. No, my general philosophy around that is if people want to back something on Kickstarter, like a game, that's awesome. Like, you're supporting the developer. That's great.
Right.
I think there is way too much stuff out there to play for me to care about anything that is more than 6 months away, never mind years away and in Kickstarter phase. I just doesn't make any sense for me personally.
Yeah, that's why a delay also doesn't really bother me, even if I am excited about a Kickstarter project, because I have so much crap to play in the meantime. It's like
I love the concept of Kickstarter, but you have to go into it with the understanding that you're backing the idea of something. You're not backing a finished product at the end of the day.
Yeah. Now, they are making promises to you, in fairness. But.
They're making promises under the assumption that they meet their goals.
Right. And then those goals are met, and then you should get what you paid for, right?
Eventually.
Ideally, yes.
But we all know.
Shit happens.
Shit happens. Nothing goes perfectly smoothly the whole way through. Otherwise, there would be no issues in the world, and we'd all be having a great time.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean, shit happens on this channel all the time. I mess up, I do something stupid, and,
So I just feel like you have to be of the mindset that I love the idea of this. I really hope this comes to be. I'm willing to financially back that. But at the end of the day, that doesn't guarantee anything.
I think it basically what we're saying is nothing is ever a guaranteed smooth ride. That does happen sometimes in life, but that's not the norm.
Well,
There's bumps in the road.
More what I'm saying is support the arts, but just don't expect that everything's going to be exactly as you hope it would.
Hunky-dory, if you will.
Yeah.
I like that old saying, hunky-dory. All right, what do you say we hop into a few news stories? Unless Silent Signs, I don't think... Oh, wait, no, you did play.
I had a game that I played.
You did play a game.
Thank you very much.
Go ahead. Sorry. I'm just really excited about this news story. It's cool. But
okay,
go ahead.
Sure. So I played some Grimoire
Groves.
Groves, is it plural?
Emphasize the S.
Apologies. Grimoire Groves.
Which, by the way, shout out to a commenter. This was on one of Mike's reviews, I think. He mentioned putting a de-esser on our audio, which helps with the sound, apparently. So I did download that de-esser And now hopefully we won't sound like snakes as much for you.
But what if I want to sound like a sneaky little snake?
I want to be a sneaky snake, but
apparently people get annoyed with the S's. I didn't know this was a thing.
Well, sorry.
I get a little annoyed with it too when I hear it myself. Anyway, sorry.
That's okay. I played Grimoire Groves, which was, speaking of Kickstarter games, a Kickstarter game.
It was, yes. 1,500 backers or so. Not huge, but...
Not my usual preferred genre. It's a little bit farming sim meets roguelite.
Meets cozy,
roguelike.
Right? Roguelites, I think they're describing it.
Yeah, that's what I said. We'll go with my first one. I don't know. So basically you play as a little witch who is trying to clean up grandma's garden or whoever's garden by basically this really non-violent combat with little seedling guys. So you cast a spell on them and then they love you and then you can plant them and then you have to gather all of their resources and bring them back to the garden, and that opens up new areas of the garden, and you give gifts to little woodland enchanted creatures that haunt, and every time you return to Grandma's garden, you have to restart at the beginning of the dungeons. So
traditional roguelite fashion then, right?
Yeah. There's definitely a farm sim element to it, but it's not full farm sim.
There ain't no carrots growing or anything like that?
Well, they kind of look like carrots. They're not really carrots.
No tomatoes to pluck, nothing?
Nah, not quite. It's a little bit different than that.
Well, you've only played like an hour or so, too.
So, yeah, I played maybe 90 minutes my first day. Within 5 minutes, it broke, which was not great.
Yeah, not a good first impression.
Yeah, so it was telling me like, oh, look, there's more seedlings coming. And then there was no seedlings coming. So I was like, well, I guess I just have to restart the game now.
Well, I got plenty of seedlings. I'll tell you about
Gross.
that.
Okay. So after I restarted the game, knock on wood, I didn't run into any other issues except the voices for the characters.
Oh, let me do the impression. It's like...
Oh, it's so much worse than that. It's so much worse than that. I feel like can we like get a clip from it and put it into the podcast?
I really don't want to go through the effort for that. It's the animal sounds from Animal Crossing.
It's worse. It's way worse. They're so much more annoying. I had to turn them down, but in order to turn them down, you turn all of the sound effects down in the game. And then I just couldn't hear anything in combat. So
there's no like animal voice toggle feature?
Developers, your game is really cute. I think it has a lot of promise. But maybe don't have it break in the first 5 minutes. It's probably a bad first impression.
I'm sure they didn't intend for that.
Booting it up. And just make an option so you could toggle off the voices. That's all I ask.
Some people love those little cute animal voices, though.
Other than that, I think it's a really cute product.
Okay, you are enjoying it enough?
I mean, it's not my typical genre, but pretty zen, pretty chill.
Looked a little repetitive from what I saw.
For sure.
Honest, but,
but it's not really...
It's very colorful. I love the visuals. Yeah. They look great.
I love like the pastel color palette. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I think this is definitely not my thing, but I'm glad to hear it's not a total train wreck.
No.
I like witches for what it's worth.
I like witches.
Doesn't look like Halloween plants. Witchy, though. It looks cute witch.
Yeah.
So that's cool. That's all you played?
Did you guys play any Next Fest stuff, by the way? I mean, Silent Signs, if you played something else, by all means, but I'm curious about if you played any Next Fest demos.
Tried to check out a few that are on our list. We have 15 upcoming, or no, not upcoming, out there demos from Next Fest. And I checked out a few of those, but not as much of a serious capacity as I would like. How about you?
I would have liked to play more. There just wasn't a lot of time this week, but I played a couple. One was called Total Chaos, which is a game by the, is it Total Overkill or something like that? I think that's the name of the game. It's like a boomer shooter that came out a little while ago. Turbo Overkill is the name of it. So it's the same developers, and they're doing this sort of horror game, which I didn't get through the whole demo because I got interrupted by something, but the vibes are very creepy. And I really loved that it supported ultra-wide perfectly. But definitely some potential there. Even if it sort of felt like a traditional horror game, it seemed like it's really well put together and has some unique enemy design and stuff. And then I played The Nightwing, I think it's called, which is sort of a 3D platformer where you play as this cartoony knight and you have a shield that if you just jump and hold one of the triggers, it might be left trigger or something, you slide on the shield like a sled. And that has so much potential. I mean, the demo seemed a little bit early, like the camera was bugging out all the time and stuff, but It was kind of adorable that you could just at any point, just if you're, going down a hill, just jump and slide down it with your shield, and it's great. Movement feels so good.
Someone in the Discord had mentioned they wanted me to check out the Nightling. Looks like it comes from Saber Interactive. They're kind of more in that AA, almost to AAA-ish territory. So we don't always get access to their games, but I do want to check this out. It kind of seems more on the indie-ish end, though, I would say, right?
The lines are becoming increasingly blurred.
Yeah, they are becoming blurred. You're right.
Yeah, the developer is Twirlbound, and their last game was Pine, which I did not play, but I know that is I think they are a smaller developer, is my point.
Yeah, but it looks really awesome.
Yeah, definitely excited for what it turns into. Definitely needs some work, so take your time, developers, but I'm sure it'll be great.
All right, then. That's what we played this week. Let's get into some indie game news stories. And actually, this is more of a retro story to kick things off here. But I had to include this one because I think it'll hit a little bit of a nostalgia vibe with you, Silent Signs. It certainly did for me. Limited Run Games, a premium publisher of physical games, has revealed the first trailer for Gex Trilogy and announced that it will be launching for PC, PS5, Xbox Series systems, and the Switch summer this year, 2025.
Didn't we literally just talk about this like 2 weeks ago?
I was going to say, yes, that's why I mentioned this story. I thought it was really cool. We were talking about Croc and some of the old mascot games. Well, here we are. Gex Trilogy brings 3 classic platforming titles from the wisecracking Gecko's glory days to modern consoles powered by the Carbon engine, packing together Gex's best-selling adventures. You get the original, you get Gex Enter the Gecko, and Gex 3 Deep Cover Gecko. They've been lovingly remastered with improved controls, updated visuals, trophy and achievement support, and more. The Carbon engine is Limited Run Games' in-house proprietary engine for bringing retro games to modern platforms through emulation. Designed for the most wholly authentic experience possible, the Carbon engine presents the games you love in just the way you remember. And based on the trailer, I would say that's accurate because it looks very much as the originals did, for better or worse. So if you don't remember Silent Signs, the first Gex was more of a 2D platformer.
Yeah.
And they eventually became 3D games in that more PS1 style visuals. And they were a lot of fun. Are you excited at all for Gex's return here? I guess kind of, sort of return. Not a new game per se, but the old games are coming back.
I'd like to play through them again. It's been so many years.
Like it has, yeah.
Some games I've replayed, like Crash Bandicoot and those series, because I feel like they've very much been kept alive. But Gex, I feel like, went cold.
He went, and he never came back really until this moment. It's pretty much so. I also had forgotten about this, that the voice was Dana Gould from the HBO comedy. That's something that I totally, completely forgot about. But it has been well over 2 decades, maybe even longer, right? Since we've played a Gex game.
Probably.
We got to go back to like late 90s, probably, right?
I was definitely living with my parents.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I never played
I'd say like
any
97
originals either.
You're not familiar with the series, Mike?
No, not really. I've heard of it, but no, I never got a chance to. It might have been before my time in terms of like before I really got into gaming.
I feel like you might enjoy them enough. You know, this 3D collectathon-ish style gameplay in the later ones, but the early ones were more about that 2D Mario style gameplay, but it has that old 90s sense of humor to it. I don't know, if you don't like retro games, maybe you won't like it so much, but I do know you like a collectathon here or there, right?
Yeah, I think collectathons can be an exception for me in the retro category, because I definitely like retro styled collectathons at least. Really just depends how modernized certain aspects are, like if the controls feel bad or if the camera feels really bad, or if it's not updated at all for like certain modern quality of life features, then I might bounce off of it. But otherwise, the visuals themselves don't bother me.
So there you have it. Gex coming back in a trilogy, and we don't have to wait long this summer. Limited Run Games, though, we know they get a lot of flack, so maybe not my first choice for the ones putting this game out. We've had a lot of people have delivery issues with them in the Discord, Silent Suns.
Well, that's physical game collecting for you.
Yeah, kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier there with stuff not showing up on time. Limited Run Games is particularly bad about this.
Notorious about that stuff.
Apparently, like we're talking like years though. This is like way worse than the Uden Chronicle situation.
Again, though, at this point, enough information is out there. You have to kind of know what you're signing up for.
Right. Yeah, we've seen what they do, how they operate, that kind of thing. So yeah, just know what you're getting into. But I'm assuming this is going to have a digital copy too. So yeah, Gex, it's coming back. And speaking of things coming back, it's time for more gladiator skull bashing and physics-based thrashing Gorn 2, the follow-up to the hit million-plus seller 2017 VR title from Devolver Digital and Free Lives, is headed to MetaQuest, Steam VR, and PSVR 2 later this year. New developers Cortopia, working alongside original series creators Free Lives, are stepping into the arena to take on virtual reality's most outrageous gladiator sim for release later this year. In Gorn 2, you will ascend to a heavenly realm where the souls of all the gladiators you slaughtered in the first game now dwell, and you'll have to kill them again. Expect new weapons, new arenas, new traps, new enemies, and new bosses as you raise hell in the heavens and prove your battle prowess before an army of terrifying foes. Did any of y'all check out the original Gorn? I did not. I'll start with you, Mike.
Yes, I did, and inject Gorn 2 straight into my veins.
It sounds great.
Gorn is so... it's so stupid. It's so stupid, but it's so fun. I mean, there is no other game where I could, like, take a spear, stab an enemy in the heart with it, and, like, rip his heart out and, like, bash him over the head with it. I mean...
Sounds like Mortal Kombat shit going on there.
Yeah, honestly, for a while, Gorn was, like, the game that I would come home after, like, a long and annoying day at work, and I would just play Gorn to relieve my stress. It is, like, that level... it's like ultra-violent therapy. It's so good. I love Gorn.
Great. Now, does it feel kind of like an on-rails experience, or you have free movement?
No, you do have free movement. I think that I don't know if they have different options for this. I remember, at least when I played it, the way you move is sort of like you swing your arms in a way that can be kind of counterintuitive at first, and I know some people didn't love that, but I kind of liked it. No, it's more just kind of simple in scope. You have free control over your movement, but you are just playing in these different sort of gladiator arenas, and it's just like killing waves of enemies. Like the structure of the game is like waves of enemies coming at you. It's pretty simple, but the gameplay feels so good. So you have to come into it with the right expectations. It's pretty simple. I'm not sure. I haven't heard enough about the sequel to know how it's going to be iterating on that, but I really liked Gorn.
I didn't realize how many games Free Lives had published by Devolver, because...
Yeah, they've had a lot.
Angerfoot.
Yep, Angerfoot was recent.
Genital Jousting.
Was that
one
really?
Of their games. Gorn, obviously.
Their output is actually insane for an indie developer. I don't know how big they are, but yeah, Genital Jousting, Broforce, Terra Nil... Cricket Through the Ages, which I didn't really like that much, but it was clearly sort of a smaller side experiment.
They definitely fit the Devolver criteria.
Yeah. Stick it to the stick man.
Yeah.
Remember that one?
Yeah, that's not out yet, is it? Did that come out?
Yeah, it's coming out this year. It looks pretty good.
This year, right? Yeah, it does look good. So, yeah, Free Lives, some cool stuff. Gorn 2, I'll have to check it out. Do you think I should play the original before I hop into the sequel? Probably a dumb question, but...
Actually, I think I have it on Steam, so I don't... Yeah, I do, so you don't have to buy it or anything. I would just try it out for an hour.
Fantastic.
It's a good time, especially if you want to relieve some stress.
Sounds good. And hopefully I won't get any motion sickness playing it. All right, just one more story. It comes from Reef Entertainment. I'm excited about this one. The legendary heroes Sarah Connor, John Connor, and the T-800 are back in Terminator 2D No Fate, an upcoming officially licensed 2D action side-scroller developed by Bitmap Bureau. The title will be launching on PS5, PS4, Switch, Xbox consoles, PC, Epic Game Store, just about everywhere, and it's coming this year, September 5th, 2025. Play as Sarah Connor and the T-800 through a variety of thrilling missions as they take on the T-1000 and try to put a stop to Skynet's plans before the human race is annihilated. Terminator 2D No Fate brings the groundbreaking action movie to life with the trademark adrenaline-pumping arcade gameplay and glorious pixel artwork the Bitmap Bureau team are known for. And I watched this trailer, Silent Signs. I was blown away at the quality of the pixel art with this game. It looks awesome. Great action. I'm very excited about this game.
Pretty cool that it's pixel art.
Yes. I'm really happy that they're going back to that instead of making these 3D Terminator games, which in my opinion haven't necessarily been amazing. Let's hope they can get the Terminator franchise back on track in the video game world. This looks good, though. Mike, did you check this one out?
I saw brief snippets of gameplay footage, and you're right. The pixel art looks incredible. It looks really, really good. I am not a Terminator fan only because I've just never seen or played anything Terminator. That might be something I should.
Really? Wow. Not even T2 Judgment Day? That's like one of my favorite movies. So good.
I think I've only ever seen 1 and 2.
I'm kind of notorious in my friend circle for like not being good with like older movies, like 90s and earlier, just because I don't know. I grew up in a household of Soviet immigrants who just didn't know all these American movies and all that. And I never got exposed to a lot of them, but my friends have helped me out a little bit by showing me some stuff that I missed, like Mrs. Doubtfire. I never saw until a few months ago.
Oh, I love that movie. But I was going to say Silent Signs. Like, this kind of reminds me of the older Terminator games. You remember the light gun game in the arcades, the classic Terminator? You've probably seen it a few times around. And not necessarily the same genre specifically here, but it does remind me of those good old days with the classic style gameplay. I think this is a good move for Terminator.
I'm probably closer to Mike in my knowledge of the Terminator franchise. I think I've seen the first one quite a few times just because it's been on television, and maybe the second one once.
Only once, really? That was like one of the biggest movies of the 90s. I'm very surprised.
Maybe.
Wow. I love that movie. Great film. You should watch it. It holds up too. Well, the CG probably doesn't.
Okay,
but it's
so
good.
Here's the thing. I'm not really an action movie fan.
Really? Oh,
No.
I love action
You know
movies.
this.
Yeah.
Why are you surprised?
I know. I keep trying to get you into Van Damme movies, but
I'm just not.
I love a good action movie.
Huh. Have either of you seen The Raid?
No,
That
I don't think
action
so.
movie? Okay, so if you haven't seen The Raid, it is the best action movie ever made. It's not even
Really?
close.
Wow, that's a bold
I
statement.
think it's not even close. I've never seen an action movie anywhere near as good as The Raid.
Huh.
I'm punching it in now so I
Indonesian.
remember.
Yeah, it's really incredible.
Okay.
You should
All right.
definitely check it out.
Noted. Yeah, but like, I mean, I've seen like The Expendables.
Apparently there are many raids. There's the Raid Redemption and the Raid 2 as well.
Oh.
Yeah, there's just those two. And the second one is, I would say, just as good, but
The Raid Redemption is the original?
yes, that is the original.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
Noted.
Yep.
I
It
thought
is,
because of like it had the redemption, I like, oh, that's a sequel, but no, I guess not. Okay.
honestly, after seeing The Raid, and this might be an unpopular opinion, I found movies like John Wick incredibly boring. I just it ruined other action movies for me. So Silent Signs, I would say give it a chance.
I
That
certainly
one.
will. That's intriguing enough.
Yeah, I started John Wick as well, and I was enjoying it, but I think I fell asleep, which is a weird thing to do in an action movie. But
Yeah. I do still
Yeah.
like Keanu, though. I
Yeah.
forgive you.
that movie's quite good from
agree.
what I saw. All right, let's get into our staff question of the day. That's all we've got for news. Silent Signs, the AAA gaming scene we're talking about. I know, on an indie gaming podcast. Seems ironic, doesn't it? But there's been optimism, I would say, as of late. There's been some pretty solid releases. We had the Silent Hill 2 remake. It was pretty well received by critics and, of course, sold 2 million copies, which is respectable. Then we had Stellar Blade, a new IP, which was very successful. It's coming to PC. I'm very excited about that. I'm finally going to play it myself. And it seems like, in general, AAA games are maybe starting to turn the corner a little bit and get back into those original IP or bringing back things that people actually care about and want to see and doing a good job with those properties. So, what do you think? Are AAA games making a bit of a comeback? Are we heading in the right direction?
That's a question, isn't it? I'm a little bit torn on this, to be honest. As we kind of alluded to earlier, I do believe the line between indie games and AAA games is starting to blur a little bit.
Well, I would say maybe AA and AAA is blurring more. You still have those very small indies.
I think that you reach a point where people are very confused as to what even an indie game is anymore.
Yeah,
because
it's a
you
question
have
we get
games
a lot.
come out like Dave the Diver, which very much feels like an indie game released by.
Yeah.
You know.
And then we had tons of commenters yelling, "Oh, that's a AAA game!" And so yeah, you're right.
That's what I'm referring to. Is how do you define what even is a AAA game versus an indie game these days anymore? I do feel like a lot of the resurgence of exciting AAA titles are re-releases and remakes of things that were already successful. So they're pretty much guaranteed to grab some money from fans.
for the most part, yeah.
Final Fantasy VII Remake, for
Yeah.
example.
Which didn't do as well as they were hoping because it was on PS5 only, but yeah, then it
Still.
does great on PC. So
Right. But the fact remains, a Silent Hill 2 remake. it already exists. It's just a remake of what was already made.
Right. So
sure, you have
but something like Stellar Blade.
Yeah. You have your one-off titles here and there that are original IPs, and I think that's great, and I think there should be more of that. I feel like there's still not enough originality that is allowed for in the AAA space, short of a few exceptions, like, not to bring it up again, but like your Death Strandings and things like that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's one that comes up often for originality.
Love it or hate it. Very original, very different from anything else in the AAA space. So it's really hard to say. I think that there is a shortage of originality in that space that I would love to see more of. I would love to see more budget devoted to making truly unique and original titles. I'm not quite seeing that yet, personally. I'd like to see more of it.
All right, that's a fair statement. And to our little side conversation there, the way I'm starting to look at things is less at the publisher these days and more at the product itself. I'll kind of eyeball a lot of games now and be like, all right, well, this looks like it was made on a modest budget at least versus this was made on a huge AAA budget. And that's kind of how I pick and choose a lot of games on the channel now these days, as opposed to just labels. I'm kind of looking at it from like, okay, well, yeah, this came from maybe a publisher like Saber Interactive, but this is definitely still a smaller, kind of a niche product still. So that's kind of how I'm starting to look at things, but we've got two conversations going on
Yeah, but
here.
it's becoming less and less defined.
Right. You're right. Mike, let's get your thoughts.
Yeah.
You can kind of jump on both conversations, I guess.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I'm going to introduce a completely different element to the conversation.
Yay.
I think it depends on where the games are coming from. I think that AAA gaming is becoming a more globalized industry. So look at some of the games that have come out in 2024 and some of the games that are coming out in 2025 that are AAA and look cool. Like Black Myth Wukong came out in 2024. 2025, where we have Lost Soul Aside, looks really cool. Tides of Annihilation might not be this year, but that looks really cool. All three of those games are coming from developers in China. We have not seen a lot of Chinese development. And, you have games like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which I don't know if it's more AA or AAA. It's one of those that kind of blurs the lines. And that's, I believe Deep Silver is the publisher, but Warhorse Studios, are they from Poland or are they from...
I believe so. That actually rings a bell now that you
I'll look it
mentioned
up
that.
while you talk.
Yeah, but basically what I'm getting at here is that we are seeing more AAA games from developers in other countries that are putting forth original ideas. And I would argue that Japanese AAA games have never really had this problem that we've been having with AAA. I mean, you're still getting the Personas, the Elden Rings, they're all the Capcom games have been pretty good for a while now, like the Resident Evils and all that. These are all coming out of Japan.
Warhorse is Czech Republic, by the way, not to interrupt, sorry.
Czech Republic, okay. Yeah. I had a feeling it was somewhere in Eastern Europe. So the point is that, so many of these big original looking games that we're excited about are not coming out of America. And I think American games are the problem.
I agree. Actually,
publishers are the problem. Like EA and Ubisoft especially, like are they coming out with anything interesting? Assassin's Creed Shadows looks like the same it kind of looks like the same bloated bullshit as the other Assassin's Creeds recently. I mean, I would love to be proven wrong, and I mean, we have even Sony was focusing on, I guess Sony is Japanese, but they've been focusing on all this live service stuff. They forced Naughty Dog to work on a live service game. And I feel like American publishers are more prone to these terrible patterns that we all hate of just focusing on profit above all else and not giving devs giving them only enough rope to hang themselves by, So that's kind of where I feel like the globalization of this has been really good.
I think that's a really good point, and I think that a lot of what I find lacking in American-made titles these days is a fresh perspective, which I feel like is almost inevitable coming from a different country or culture. You're gonna get something that you don't see every day here.
Yeah, I agree. You look at the list of companies in America that create games here locally. You have Activision, Mike mentioned EA, and then you have, Nintendo is here. They're a Japanese company too, and same with Sony, but they have their American divisions, and I would love to see more talent come directly here to America, and we'd get more studios, more competition, but it's kind of just the same old farts doing the same old thing and getting these bad business practices where that isn't as much of an issue, like Mike mentioned, in China and other places. So.
Yeah, and you have your exceptions. I would say Insomniac is an exception. I feel like their output I've always really enjoyed, and you have Sucker Punch, like Ghost of Yotai. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but that looks really good. But these exceptions feel few and far between for American publishers. It should be, it is this big booming industry, and people are kind of moving away from it to some degree just because they're giving us slop.
Well, I do feel there's a fear of taking risks because of the lack of financial gain. Or the fear of lack of financial gain. Do you want the thing that's guaranteed to make you money, like the latest installment of Madden? Or do you want something that's a huge risk?
Yeah, well, that's been a problem in the AAA scene for a long time now.
So that's a part of it, too.
Yeah, and obviously Ubisoft is not even an originally American company. They have branches all over the place, so it's not a strictly American problem either. We're not trying to hate on our own country in that way. But,
absolutely.
But that it is a theme I've seen, with EA probably being one of the biggest culprits.
Offenders, yeah.
I think you run into a lot through game history, too, is the two sides don't always see eye to eye. You can go back to the early days of Sega and Nintendo, and the whole downfall of Sega was really that Sega of America and Sega of Japan just could not get along, and so they had different marketing ideas. They had different ideas of what they should do with consoles, and a lot of that is still true today, I feel like. It's just you have different cultures, you get different people involved, and the ideas don't always mix well together.
But that should be a good thing. That should be room for collaboration.
Yeah. It leads to a lot of arguments, and it leads to a lot of business drama in the gaming history.
If you can't have something with different perspectives coming together to make something completely unique and different, then what are you doing?
I know, right?
Like, if we all three thought exactly the same and had all of the same ideas, and we were just talking at each other for this whole podcast, being like, oh no, yeah, that's totally right. Yeah,
right?
It's just all AAA is bad and all indie is good. That would be so lame.
It's just business at the end of the day. They have different ways of doing business, and their goal is to make money. We're not really here, trying to have a conversation involving hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars on the line.
At the end of the day, it's still art. To me, video games are still an art form.
Yeah, I just don't think the people at the top see it that way necessarily, though. I think the developers do and the people making it do, but I don't think the executives do.
Yeah, well, same to be said about music or movies or television. At the end of the day, it's still an art form.
Yeah, of course.
It's an art form. Should be a means for expressing all different types of emotions, good and bad, happy and sad, like all different perspectives, all different cultures, religions, what have you. Like, it should all be there.
I was going to say every executive should be a gamer.
Yes.
Every executive in the gaming industry should be a gamer. And, there are some American-made AAA games I am excited for. The new Mafia game looks good. The new Doom looks good. Grand Theft Auto 6, we'll see how good that is. It might be great, but I hope that resurgence is coming. But I think it needs to prove itself.
Mm-hmm. That is one thing I will say about Xbox and Phil Spencer in particular, is at least he plays games and he understands them to a degree. We're not used to often seeing that from the higher ups in the gaming industry.
It should be a requirement, but I think that for a lot of professions, the only good experiences I've ever had with managers are when I had a manager that worked in my field.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. You need intelligent people doing the job. No surprise there.
Not even that. You need somebody who's gotten their hands dirty before.
Yeah.
To really know, how to direct or what's going to make sense for the consumer.
You're right. I agree 100%. We got a little sidetracked on this conversation, but at the end of the day, I would say I have a modest sense of optimism around AAA gaming going forward. I think they're starting to turn a little bit of a corner and see that a lot of these games aren't working. A lot of these money sink games, these live service games.
And all the money in the world isn't going to save a tired concept.
No, you're right. Every concept dies out eventually. Trends come and go. We were talking about this in the car the other day, how quickly trends come and go now, Silent Signs, whereas things seem to hang around more when we were 90s kids. Mm-hmm. Trend every week or day even now, it seems like, right? Especially with the TikTok era and everything.
Fast fashion.
Kids find trends every day.
Short-form content, overconsumption. They're huge problems.
The Stanley Cup one day, and then what else do we got going on the next day? It's crazy.
Yeti.
Yeah. Mike, any closing thoughts on the state of AAA gaming?
You know what? I'm cautiously optimistic too, but I'm less optimistic about, the problematic publishers suddenly becoming good than I am about the globalization of the AAA gaming industry in general, meaning just more great AAA games, period, regardless of where they're coming from. I think there's a lot to be excited for there.
All right, folks. Well, it was a fun conversation, spirited as always, as it is here at Outside of the Echo Chamber. Thank you all for listening. We hope you enjoyed it. Coming up on the channel this week, we have reviews, a couple of them. Everhood 2 is getting a review. We can say that now because this podcast will go live right along with that review, or very shortly. So that's exciting. We, of course, have our upcoming indies, and it's a pretty big week this week.
Pretty stacked.
15 games.
All right. Well, that's better than last week.
15 games, yes. A few more reviews. Can't talk about them all just yet. I know Mike's playing something that hopefully he's enjoying or has even started. I don't know. But I'm playing something that I'm greatly liking. And stay locked to the channel. Lots of good stuff coming up. March is going to be a bigger month than February. I can already tell you that.
Good. Because it's been a little bleak.
All right, let's get out of here, everybody. Have a good one, and we'll see you on the next episode. Keep it locked to the channel for more great indie gaming content.
Oh, that was great. Thanks.
Done.
Okay.
For far too long, you, the gamer, have been denied honest gaming coverage. Indie developers and publishers have lost their voice, but no longer. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and head over to patreon.com/idreamofindiegames to join this epic campaign for indie visibility. The echo chamber trembles as our message grows louder. Voice to the voiceless.